Hello, this is Omar. He agreed to be in my global project for the T Class 150. He invited me over to meet him at his house, and this is his room. Currently, we're just playing some darts right now, and then we're going to get into kind of talking about his different high school and different cultural experiences. Hey guys, Jack back here with Omar. He's going to introduce himself a little bit so we can get to know him a little bit better.
Hi, my name's Omar. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Petoskey, Michigan. Being a small area that it is, growing up in Petoskey is a little different for me. Um, People come from primarily the same kind of background up there, and since I am Muslim and my family raised me that way, um, just that like cultural stigma that comes from up there separated me from the pact. But overall, I mean, I grew up just like any other high schooler. Played sports, went to class, hung out with friends, kind of made the most out of it like anyone else would normally have.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I understand. So now we're gonna kind of get a little bit more in depth about your experience in high school. The good, the bad experiences. I'll tell my side of where I was from, being in Ridgewood, New Jersey. How it's a little bit different from Michigan, in a couple different senses. We'll dive a little bit more into that later.
yes, sir.
So hey guys, we're back here with Omar, and we're gonna dive a little bit more into high school and talking about different similarities and differences. So for me, growing up in Ridgewood, New Jersey, went to a public high school that had about 1,700 kids. My graduating class was 400. And everybody kind of in my class, in my town even, that had 26,000 people in it, we kind of had the same kind of cultural background in a way where it wasn't a lot different. We didn't have a lot of different cultural backgrounds, and the students were kind of the same. My friends all were, we kind of had the same kind of cultural background, so it was hard for me to, see on the other side, see different other surrounding towns that had various kind of culture, different cultural backgrounds, and kind of see how they feel, and in their shoes, or just kind of talking to people that had different cultural backgrounds. So and differently, living Omar lives in Michigan, is a little bit different, and he's going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're going off sports, for example. I remember one time back in high school, I played football up in the varsity. We had a team dinner one time, and people were weirded out because they were serving pulled pork, and I wasn't allowed, like, based on my religion, I'm not allowed to eat that. And so,
Yeah, I can
yeah,
relate to that too because I played football in high school. We had
yeah,
a lot of different pasta parties, before games to get a lot of carbs in you before the game, and it was meatballs, chicken parm, different types of chicken, and various types of the pulled pork.
proteins,
Yeah,
yeah.
pulled pork was there too. So, that's a little bit different for me because we didn't have a kid that was Muslim or different culture that had
Yeah,
to the religion
makes
prevented
sense.
them from eating different kinds of foods. Okay, so besides from we talked about the different football pasta parties, you weren't able to eat the pulled pork.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else in high school that you kind of felt either was a positive or kind of negative experience being Muslim in
Well,
Petoskey?
I mean, the non-pleasant experience I could describe off the top of my head would just be my last name or my name in general. Like whenever every time I had a substitute, like I remember just sitting in class. This had happened on multiple occasions where
Yeah,
they couldn't pronounce my full name. They'd just say like Omar Alker. Like they couldn't even pronounce like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like people would start giggling. Like
yeah, and
it was like kind of embarrassing at times, but
yeah, I
at the end
feel
of it, you
yeah, I feel like you would be embarrassed in that sense, not being able to. So the substitute, they have problems pronouncing people's names, but
yeah
especially like of your name, and I kind of relate to that because kids in my class, a substitute would come in, they would feel uncomfortable as well if the teacher couldn't pronounce their name, and if maybe the student didn't have a lot of friends, and that could really affect their kind of well being,
Yeah, and it always happened like probably the first week of classes when like you just meet your teachers.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of times they'd always ask me about stuff and like just put me on the spot like that. Like regarding my name being
No, yeah,
Muslim
I
and
can
stuff
I
like
can
that.
see why that could be a problem, and that could
Yeah,
be kind of affect you in that way. So I know that, in at least my high school experience, with my friends played a pretty big part growing up in my life. We'd always hang out in our high
yeah,
school, hang out on the weekends, hang out after class, hang out after school even. Can you talk a little bit about your friends' experience throughout high school?
yeah. So I mean, I was just like any other kid. I'd hang out with my friends Friday, Saturday, try to hang out Sunday, but a lot of times Sunday I found a little difficulty because a lot of my friends were Catholic. They'd go to church on Sundays.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, though, Friday nights, Saturdays.
So talking about, religion in that aspect, a lot of your friends, you said, they'd go to church on Sundays. Can you talk a little bit about more your religion and how you practice that?
Well, a lot of times my friends went to church. It was made me a really outsider because a lot of them went to the same church, had their families go, friends, everyone was there. And me being Muslim, we went to the mosque, and I was really the only one from my hometown who really went to those.
Yeah. Just want to say thank you, Omar, for agreeing to be in my project, and I thank you for giving me some great information.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
No problem. So I thought that Omar's answers were, pretty valuable, to me and to this project, and they provide a lot of insight, with how being different, culturally different than I am, and, through the different high school experiences that he had, whether that be the pasta party, calling out his name, his religion in that aspect. I thought there was a lot of differences, but also some similarities in the fact that, he related to me in a way that he understood that, coming from Petoskey, not a lot of people knew about Muslim religion, and his kind of culture behind that. Kind of the different concepts that I picked up on that related to our class would be kind of, discrimination in a way, and, kind of having a prejudice, a belief in their heads that, Muslim's a little bit weird, and, not really knowing how to really deal with it in that kind of aspect. And a couple different insights about the culture and education that kind of emerged after reflecting is that Omar's just a regular kid like I am, and I'm glad I got to meet him, kind of learn a different aspect and kind of get out of my comfort zone as well as get out of his comfort zone. I know he was a little bit nervous throughout the kind of interaction, but he provided a lot of great insight that I thought reflected a lot of different class concepts to our culture unit.